Hello, welcome to Football United TV. I'm your host Matt King, and I've got a very special guest, buddy Bills from Madrid. How you doing, sir?
Very well, thanks. How you doing, Matt?
Good, good. Yeah, not too bad. Thank you very much, mate. Weather
Nice.
good out there at the moment?
It is. It's really, really good. It has been for like a month. That's why I came here.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, actually, it's not too bad here as well, Bills. It's been quite nice recently. So, what we're going to talk about? Well, La Liga and like the Spanish experience of you going around many clubs, I believe, and many stadiums, right?
Not tons and tons, but a few. Yeah, definitely. I mean, Madrid. One thing I'll say about Madrid is it is for sport in general. It's the best city I've been in. I didn't get much chance to check out in the States or anything, but in Europe for sure. So I don't know. I've seen some things. I've been to the Bernabeu and watched a really good game. That was ages ago. That was last season. They beat Seville 5-0, 5 goals in the first half, and Ronaldo paraded his fifth Ballon d'Or, I think. So it was a pretty good game to be at. But
yeah, it's a good experience for that. Yeah.
Yeah, I still find the atmosphere at the Bernabeu dead though. It's really not got much atmosphere there. If you want to,
would you say on the away days they're better, the better atmosphere for Real Madrid support, or?
Haven't been there, but I imagine so because they do have, they've got a hardcore element. They've got a group of ultras, not causing trouble or anything, but making some atmosphere. So I guess so. I just haven't really seen it. If you're looking for atmosphere, you want to go to Rayo Vallecano. Those are the guys because they've got this tiny stadium. It's less than 20,000 capacity, and one of the stands,
like a Bournemouth almost.
Yeah, but one of the stands. The goals isn't there. They've got a block of flats, so they can't put it there. But they still make this unbelievable atmosphere, and like the other stand behind the other goal is just ultras pretty much. So it's just absolutely rampant. It's great. But yeah, did that see the national team a few years ago as well? Been around some of the smaller teams, like non-league or a few tiers down teams like Cadiz a few years ago when I lived there, and they're a passionate bunch, the Spanish. Just not so much the Real Madrid fans, I guess. But yeah.
No. I think a lot of people know that, though, don't they? So what are you making of... what about the Premier League? Have you been keeping up to date with that and what's been happening? What's your thoughts?
Well, the fantasy football nerd in me is keeping up. I mean, I'm a Villa fan, Aston Villa, but... obviously, we're not in the Premier League right now, but
yeah, you're going to get there, right? Maybe.
He's looking a lot better, actually. We've got some good form recently. It's really difficult to follow the games because you don't find any bars that will show, much in the way of Championship, especially Aston Villa. But I'm going to subscribe to their channel soon and try and actually see some more games because even getting highlights is actually kind of difficult. But looking at the game, the results and the stats. It's better. My problem at the moment is I still don't think we're ready for promotion. Like last year, we lost the playoff final and Fulham were better. They deserved it. But, and of course, I'd love to get promoted. But, last season, we were really reliant on John Terry, who's on the coaching staff now. And This season, we got Tammy Abraham from Chelsea, and he's just been absolutely incredible. He's
Amazing.
got 21 goals. I've got it written down. 21 goals in 32 games.
And a few hat tricks, I believe, right? Maybe?
Is that possible? So, at least one or two, yeah. Again, a big chunk of the season, I was a pretty poor fan. Do
you think he's going to move on to somewhere else, seeing as he's got great form now? Or is that a worry to you that you might lose him if you don't get the Premier League jump?
If we don't get promoted, we're definitely losing him. Even if we do, I mean, the guy is clearly too good for the Championship or any sort of lower tier Premier League team. Chelsea should try him out. I don't see why not. They're having these problems with strikers. Higuain is a brilliant player and he's with the right manager, but he still hasn't really come through. They've got to give him a chance. He's clearly got the talent. I'd love to keep him, but he won't stay.
Do you have the same feeling with Jack Grealish as well? Do you think that he possibly could be another player that could move out?
I mean, he could. The difference there is he's Villa through and through. He had the chance to go to Spurs, and I think Spurs are still interested if all the rumours, etc., are true. But
the price tag gone up.
Yeah, I think so. And he's putting the performances in as well. And He's clearly got the talent. It just depends if he wants to stick it out with Villa, try and help them get promoted. If we get promoted, he'll stay. I really think so. But there'll be a big question mark if not. You see the other one when he took a punch.
He took it well, didn't he? Like, let's put it that way. It was, the guy looked a little bit pussy though, so well, it hits him and then runs away. Like, who does that from behind as well? What a great fan you are.
You hit someone in the back of the head while they're doing their job. The thing is, you're right. He took it like a pro, and that impressed me because what's Grealish been kind of more famous for nationally before that. Sort of having a poor attitude, going out drinking, thing like most teenagers are going to do at that point, But it looks like he's actually sorted his head out professionally, and that will help him, and hopefully help.
He seems to have that maturity. Like when he got hit, he just stayed down. He clutched. He just went for his ankles. You know what I mean? And sort of just let everybody else deal with it.
Yeah.
And like that, it's quite an awful thing for someone like that just to come up from behind you. You don't know what's going on. You're on a football field. You probably think you're getting attacked by a player or something, and then you realise it's a fan. And took it very professionally, I thought.
But the stereotype of the average footballer, like you say, the average young footballer as well. It's this idea of like entitlement. They get all this money really young. Their attitude changes. That's not so much their fault. They're lucky to have it. Whoever it is you're talking about, of course, but they're thrust in that position at the same time. And the guy is just sat there and he's okay. He could have gone after him. He could have turned around and tried to pick a fight with this fan or get involved in the ruckus, but he let the more experienced guys and the ref take care of it, and that's got to give the guy some credit. I like Jack Grealish anyway. He's just a normal lad at the end of the day who's got a talent.
Exactly, Which also brings me to focus and thinking about what happened in the England game, the racial chanting and stuff. Right. What are your thoughts on what happened there, and obviously the result, which is 10 goals in 2 games, only letting in 1. Pretty decent for England so far, right?
we got 2 things there. Let's look at that racism thing. Like, it's an interesting one. I mean, obviously, it's not a new problem, but we're getting a lot of it kind of coming to the top of the scene again, And so it wasn't just the England game, I did a bit of research, obviously, before we planned to do this, and you got stuff. Hudson-Odoi, he had it in a Europa League game, I think, for Chelsea.
Yeah.
Stuff coming from fans of a lot of the London teams. I'm not suggesting that's a London thing, but there were problems at Spurs and West Ham, I think, and Chelsea as well.
Yeah, Millwall as well, right?
yeah, of course, yeah, and it doesn't begin and end there as well, obviously. But I don't know. The thing I've noticed is that Sterling, he came out and said that he's sort of the leader of the campaign here, and he just doesn't want to be. And I don't blame him. Like, have you seen how the media have treated him? Just in general. On one hand, I guess it'll be a chance for him to have a positive light in the media. On the other hand, the guy just doesn't want it. He just wants to get on with his life and his job, And can you blame him?
No, it's not. But, he wants to feel like everybody else, and by pushing it onto him like that and putting him in the media as the focus and the focal point, probably puts a lot on his shoulders as well, especially when he's just trying to play football and he's not trying to be in the media or for other things other than his professionalism.
Yeah, and he's been criticised for other things that he's fixed as well. I mean, what was it? During the World Cup and beforehand, it was all about how many games he'd played for England and not scoring or getting many assists. And he's gone ahead and changed that down to Pep's development and all that kind of thing. But so he came out, he scored a hat-trick, then he got another one and a really nice assist whilst having racist abuse shouted at him. The guy's a hero, I love
it. Helped bring it on. Just give him some more abuse, and we'll get more goals.
And he just goes,
and he can do one of them.
I'm not going to take that, and he can actually still play under the pressure. So it's a shame he's in this position, of course, but he's dealing with it well. I've got a lot of admiration for the guy.
Yes, definitely.
What do you think, though? Is this going to be fixed in any way soon? Like, this is the question I had. Like, there's a bit of talk about. This has happened before in Italy, for example, where racist chanting and then the captain will just tell the players to get off the pitch. And some of the managers, and I think Harry Kane mentioned this the other day. Like, what do you think about that? Is that the best way to deal with it, do you think?
Yeah, I've heard the same thing. I know Jurgen Klopp said, I think maybe a day or two ago, that he would, if he heard anything at any of the games that he was managing at, he would take his players straight off the field, like no questions. I kind of agree with it. But then you got to look at the other point. I understand the other point of people saying, well, you just get on with it, you keep playing. And, you know, like, I don't know if you remember Danny Alves got a banana chucked at him, didn't he? What did he do? He peeled it, he ate it, and he took the corner. So, yeah, I can kind of see both sides of it. Like, he shut them up, didn't he? He shut them up by doing that, but also by leaving the pitch sort of like what Eto'o did at Barcelona, or tried to. That works as well, because then they don't get to watch what they've come for, you know? Like, they want their football, and if you walk off and don't give them that chance to watch it, then they've lost.
That's
and hopefully they won't turn up if you carry them.
In moral terms, I think that's the thing to do. You know, it's because people shouldn't have to be exposed to that. I guess the other side is the element of letting them win. You know, letting them know that they've affected you, or actually stopping the entertainment for the vast majority who aren't racist that are watching the game. You know, Sterling's approach, tackle them face on. Do you remember Boateng? Was it Boateng? AC Milan?
Yeah.
They were playing a friendly, and he ended up kicking the ball into and storming up. And, you know, it's there are two different ways of handling it, and it's just how you feel about it at the time. But there's got to be some kind of there's got to be some kind of, when this happens, here's how we deal with it. But I don't know. I'm a bit worried about letting these guys win and sort of breathing the culture a bit more, you know. And this is from my perspective. You know, I've never suffered any problems like this. I very much doubt I'm going to in the future. That's the sad case of it, you know. So I don't want to speak on behalf of the people who suffer from it, basically. But there needs to be something, you know.
Yeah, I agree.
But what about the games? What about the England games, though? I mean, I didn't see them. I was working. I was teaching, but I caught the highlights. What do you think about them?
Their performances overall in the last couple of games.
Yeah, just in the last week, yeah.
Yeah, I just think on top form. I mean, to be fair, like, you look in Europe and you think, who are the best teams in Europe? Of course, on the world, we're still like top 10, but I look at Europe and I kind of think like maybe even top 3.
Wow. Okay.
Definitely France are the best team in Europe, I say. I think we're better than Spain. I think we're better than Italy. I think we're better than Holland. And even at this moment, better than Germany. So England are looking as good as they've been for, well, at least 96, I'd say. Is that
fair? I think that's fair. In terms of like how they're actually performing together anyway, you know, let's not go down that cliched route of talking about the golden generation, etc. But, you know, on paper, they were clearly a better team. But, you know, in terms of togetherness and sort of the prospects for the future, there's something I noticed. You mentioned Germany, and they've been disrupted. They had that weird thing where the manager basically retired 3 of his star players without consulting them. Did you hear about that? Like Thomas Muller and a couple of other guys, I can't remember who. And that just seems progressive, but a really weird way to do it. But my point was, you know, when Germany won the World Cup, a few years back, obviously, like, that was the result of investment in youth about, this is a guess, I don't know, say 8 years, 10 years before. And then they got this really, really nice unit of players who played a similar style of football, similar to what Spain did. I don't know if Spain kind of invested in that. But this is what's happening with England. You know, we spent a lot of money, kind of a sick amount of money on youth facilities and scouting and training the coaches. And now we're seeing this. I mean, people are talking about how young the England team is, I think of Harry Kane, the role he plays, he's not going to suffer in his early 30s. He's still going to hit his peak and get better, you know. But then you see all the guys like Hudson-Odoi or Rice or any number of other guys coming through the academies right now, and it's starting to pay off. I don't think we've seen everything yet. I'm still not saying we're necessarily going to win a tournament. There's still a pessimist in me that, you know, we've got a lot more that we're going to see, you know.
You know, it's a good sign when clubs like Bayern Munich, Dortmund, and Barcelona are looking at 17, 18-year-old English players. You know, it's good. It's good. It's a good prospect.
Also, I think the emergence of Rashford and Kane have done a lot as well, because in both cases, they only really got their chance. They said Rashford would have had his chance eventually, who knows? But they only got their chance because of the lack of options. You know, Kane especially. What do they say? If Soldado had been a success, we'd have never seen Harry Kane, really, you know. So hopefully that will inspire people to actually use these players a little bit. And like you say, Chelsea are using Hudson. So using Hudson-Odoi seems to have come off the back of the pressure with this whole move by him. But I love the fact, because you got that young guy from Arsenal, Reece Nelson maybe, who's playing in Germany too, and he's doing really well. I think this is going to help. Because again, the Premier League, biggest league in the world, we've got all this money running through it and it's attracting all the foreign talent. That's brilliant. I love that. But we need something to compensate for our own talent,
Yes. What do you make of, on a quick note, the appointment of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer at Manchester United on a 3-year deal? How are you feeling?
Beat me to it, because you're the United fan. I wanted to ask you. Surely he's the guy that everyone wanted, no?
Yeah. I think everybody wanted it. I've seen some of the stuff in the media in Norway as well recently, and it's madness. The amount of praise he's getting from Norway it's ridiculous. They've been putting up his I think it's from a small fishing town, I believe, in Norway, and they've put up on this sort of little mountain side 20 legend in highlight massive print at night highlighted out, and you're like, wow, they're really going deep. So I didn't even realize he's knighted by the Norwegian
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's a knight. He's Sir Ole Gunnar Solskjaer of Norway,
and that's slipping into the Alex Ferguson mold then, I guess. I don't know, so
that way.
As a United fan, if they'd said to you before the appointment, if they said we can have any of Zidane, Pochettino and Solskjaer, after the good run of form, after Solskjaer had done his bit, what would you have chosen Solskjaer from the three? I know Zidane's gone back to Real, but hypothetically.
To be honest, he never even crept up in my mind when Mourinho got sacked. I'd never thought okay, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's a good bet. I just didn't think it. But as soon as they said it, I was like, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
Because he knows the club very well. He's passionate about the club.
Yeah.
And he's got good connections with the board, like Alex Ferguson, David Gill. Everybody loves him there. Even the staff, like you say, when he first turned up, he bought he bought a Norwegian suite for some tea lady or whatever at the club, and she was
the receptionist, and she was working there when he was a player. That one too, yeah. You're right. I mean, it was a risk-free appointment. If you get Zidane or Pochettino, you've got to pay off. Well, you would have had to have paid Spurs off a lot. You'd have to promise them a huge transfer budget, which I think that's kind of the norm now anyway, to be honest. So, okay. But you know what it is, though? He's come in and he hasn't spent any money. He hasn't had the chance. Has he? Was it before Christmas or was it after Christmas? I can't remember.
He came into Man United?
Yeah,
17th of December he was...
So he did have the chance to spend money, but he just didn't. Okay.
They didn't give it to him, no.
Yeah, so he got the best out of a group of players that were underperforming. Everyone's saying the same, and it's true. You got a World Cup winning, debatably one of the best midfielders in the world in Pogba there. You got to get him playing to his best. You've got to build around him, etc., etc. I think he'll do good. He'll do well, sorry, but I don't know. It'll just be interesting to see how patient the board are with him, because we haven't seen any failure yet. How people can pull their team out of a bad patch of form is a huge consideration. So we've got to see, or you've got to see. I'm not a United fan. I don't know. Do you think? Yes, the other question I'd ask you is where do you think his focus is going to lie? Do you think he's going to make a big push in Europe, or is he going to try and get the stability in the league, or maybe try both? I don't think you've really got the depth for that right now, though.
I think he's going to go for it. I'm not sure whether it is the right thing to do, but I think he's just so ready to just keep trying to push every single game he wants to win, no matter what. And I think that's what the difference between him and Mourinho. Mourinho was sort of okay, we can defend, we can go for a 0-0 here. But that's not him. He's like, if you score 2, we're going to score 3. I like that mentality, of scoring more than you. Maybe leaving ourselves exposed a little bit at the back just so we can show exciting and interesting football. And if you lose and you play well like that, I'll take that. That's for me.
And tactically, yeah, okay, that's good. I haven't really followed United so closely in terms of who's playing and what the formations are and things like that. Has he changed a lot tactically in terms of, I know he's a lot more offensive, but in terms of how the players line up?
It's every fan was shouting out for a certain lineup, and he's doing that where Mourinho wasn't doing that. So it's sort of like what he's done is he's seen things that fans have seen, and he's gone for the best team that there is. Everybody knew what best team to put out, and for some reason Mourinho, bringing on Fellaini like to try and win a game.
Yeah, well, it depends on the approach. It depends how the team's built. He can be effective. We've seen that, but he's not it's not really a top 4 match winner. I understand that. Yeah.
That's why I went to China, my friend.
Yeah, the man can play. I always feel he gets. I feel he
score some important goals.
He can score goals. He can defend. He's just not electrifying, and he can. And he's a bit of a loose cannon as well. So yeah, I'm sure no one was too sad to see him go, but he had his role. No. No
disrespect for I was pretty pleased that happened. Yeah, that showed you that was down to that was Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. He clearly had a problem with Fellaini. There was something there. Like I don't think he wanted to play for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I think he was a Mourinho boy.
Yeah, loyalty to the guy who sort of started using him a lot more and things like that. Maybe
He lasted 3 weeks.
What's that?
He only lasted like 3 or 4 weeks, and he was gone.
Yeah, I suppose.
So, yeah.
You want split opinions? What about Gabby up on Lahore? Villa legend. He's retired.
Oh, yes.
Did you see that?
He's retired.
Yeah, yesterday he announced his retirement. Yeah. He'd been released by Villa already and really hadn't done much in the last few years. But what do you think? Because, opinion is very, very split in the, amongst the Aston Villa fans. Like, he's done a hell of a lot for the team, but, well, what do you think? Tell me.
About Lahore?
Yeah. From the outside, your perspective on the guy.
He was really good, to be honest, when he first started out as well, wasn't he? Getting his play for England.
Yeah.
He's had a pretty amazing career at Aston Villa. Everybody knows him, so it's not like he hasn't done anything in his career. I think he's had a sweet career. Obviously not a world-class player. Like, could have been seen as a world-class player when he was younger, like a really hot prospect, but like Wilshere and they don't always get to the
comparison in some ways. Yeah. I mean, Walcott and Wilshere, I think, still are better players. The thing about Abon Lahore, I don't know. Again, I had to look into this a bit more, but he didn't really get many goals. What was it? I got his stats here somewhere, but I think he scored 75 goals in his career, and he's a striker. And that was in 340 odd games, I think. And I don't know. That's not a great record for a striker, but what I noticed is that he gets important goals. So I looked at his highlight reel. There weren't many particularly spectacular goals. He might be on the end of a good team move or something like that, but he scored a lot against Birmingham. In fact, his last goal of real meaning was the only goal in the derby. He had a great knack of scoring against the big teams in the Premier League as well. So when, like you were saying, when he had that real, when he was showing a lot of potential and people were talking about him, most of his goals have been against sort of Arsenal's, United's, Chelsea's, Liverpool's, things like that. So not a great goal scorer, but he made it count,
Yeah.
His attitude dropped off, though. He became pretty unpopular the last few years, and I wasn't too fond of him at the end. He only scored 2 goals in 3 seasons in the Championship, I think, and stuff like that,
Still, at least, you got to wish him a very good retirement. Good service to the club.
He's still a Villa legend. He's still our top goal scorer in the Premier League, and that probably won't be beaten in my lifetime unless something really, really crazy happens and we get a lot of success, He's a one-club man, supported the team as a boy, went out on loan to Watford and Sheffield Wednesday, 2 teams I've got I identify with as well. I like the guy. He wasn't spectacular. It's a shame that's our club legend, I guess. When you look around at people like Lampard or Giggs or whatever,
Can we have a quick couple of minutes on your experience of the Boca Juniors and River Plate final in Madrid? Just a quick, brief. Give us. How was that night?
It was awesome. I mean, it was just, it was a lot more money than I would ever pay for a football match. I actually paid, I'll be honest, I paid €200 for the tickets. I had to go, I had to go the back alley path to get tickets for that. But
worth it.
It's just, I've been in Spain for a few years, 5 years now, and I lived in the south for like 3 of those years. I came to Madrid for work, and it's just the fact that I'm here and I can get a metro to that game. And it's the first time it's ever happened. It's Boca versus River. It's this huge, huge derby. That match might never happen in the final again. I'd be amazed if it was ever moved to a different continent again, So we just went for it. And I was a little worried at first because it got moved, you know why, because of the sort of hooliganism and things like that. And but the atmosphere was fine. In fact, it was great. It still had an element of Bernabeu atmosphere to it. But I don't know. I was sat with the River fans, and they won the game in the end. Went to extra time, etc. And it was loads. Absolutely, and it was loads and loads of fun. And there were a lot of foreigners there. That's the thing. So the actual intensity of the atmosphere from the people who really, really wanted something out of this wasn't there so much. I just decided whoever I'm sitting with, I'm going to go nuts for that team. Luckily, it was River, but it was cool. And the quality of football was good. The match was actually a really, really good match. And the reporting on it that really sucks. Because I remember this. I read the BBC report the next day. I sent it to my WhatsApp group with my family that we had for football. And one of the journalists, they had in the top tier behind the goals, they had a section closed in both of them. And they reported that was closed off because people were throwing missiles and they were violent. Absolute rubbish. Everyone was completely chill, just having fun. And it was already closed before the game as well. I think they were reporting that they had to seal it off with, this is an exaggeration, like barbed wire or something like that. But no, they're just trying to
believe the media all the time.
Well, I suppose everyone had a nice peaceful time. Isn't good. Isn't good.
Isn't good news, is it? No.
But they just that opportunity was amazing, and so that was Bernabeu, the Champions League finals at the Wanda, Atleti's new stadium this year, and I'd love to go see it. It's going to be more than double what I paid for Copa Libertadores, and it probably would be worth it. I just don't have that kind of money.
Man, you get to the final, Bills. I might not get a ticket, but I'll definitely be coming to Madrid.
Always welcome, buddy. Got this couch with your name on it. But yeah, no, it was great, and it was totally worth it. And I'm glad I could say I've seen it, because that opportunity will never happen again. I really don't think so. What about? All right, let's finish off with this weekend.
Yeah,
a few rough predictions down. I didn't really have time to think loads, but what are you thinking? We got, I think, City Fulham's. It might even be on right now. Actually, I'm not sure. What's your?
It is, and it's 1-0 to Man City.
1-0 to Man City. All right, my fantasy team needs a bit of action from Aguero today. Hey, I'll check it later. What do you think? I got 4-0 as the prediction. What do you think?
Obviously, I'd say 4. Maybe I'll say 5-0 to be fair, because I know Man City like to score 5 or more usually against bottom teams.
Against teams that see a lot as well, yeah. I was being conservative with 4-0, to be honest. All right, Brighton, Southampton, I'm going 1-1. What about you?
That's a really good one. I'm liking the way Southampton have adapted themselves under the new manager, so I'm going for a Southampton 2-1 win.
Okay, I think there'll be a couple of goals, though. They're both scoring, maybe not loads, but they're managing to get on the score sheet most games. Burnley, Wolves, I've got a away win 2-1 to Wolves.
Yeah, Wolves, I think 2-0.
You reckon 2-0? All right. Yeah. I think they're just so attacking. I think they can concede against almost anyone, but they do pull the odd clean sheet. It's true. Crystal Palace, Huddersfield, 2-0 Palace for me.
Yeah, Crystal Palace. I think a 3-1.
3-1. You think Huddersfield will get one?
Yeah.
They're
get one, but
Huddersfield are doomed now. It's all about consolation, I think, isn't it?
Yeah.
The Bournemouth, I'm anticipating a really tight game there, but I think Leicester will squeeze it 2-1.
Yeah, again, under Brendan Rodgers, he's obviously a very good manager. So yeah, I think they'll probably win about 3-1 again.
Put this young lad Harvey Barnes in my fantasy team on recommended from a blog I read. Keep an eye on him. He was smashing up the Championship, and he's chipping in now as well. Well, all right, you've got Watford, haven't you? I think you'd take him anyway, but I think the buzz from Ollie's appointment will give it a bit extra. I'm going to say 3-1. I still think you'll concede one. 3-1.
I think it might be even closer. I'm looking at 2-1.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Watford know how to play. Tactically, they're pretty astute. They've had a good season, and I think they know how to at least put a good account of themselves in against big
It's
teams.
the best they've done in the league, I think.
Yeah.
In the top flight, 7th position, right, or 8th position.
Hovering around Europa League somewhere. Anyway, yeah, doing a lot better than you'd expect. They're a lot of respect for Watford. What we got then on Sunday and Monday, I think we got Cardiff, Chelsea.
Tomorrow.
That's tomorrow. Yeah, I'm going to say 1-1. I think Cardiff are in decent form. They've got a lot to play for, and Chelsea away from home. Actually, I might have heard. I think their record's better away from home. Either way, I could see Cardiff squeezing 1-1 here.
What about the Tottenham and Liverpool versus Spurs?
You got to fancy Liverpool for that at Anfield.
I want a 1-1, Bills.
You got 1-1.
That's what I want as a Man United fan. Yeah.
Yeah. I'd prefer.
Well, it gets us closer to Tottenham, and it puts Liverpool off of winning the league, doesn't it? They dropped 2 points. They both dropped 2 points, and we gained 3 points. It's just the best result, really, for us.
No, I see that. As much as City are probably going to win the league in my head, I'd rather see Liverpool win it. As far as the Premier League goes, though, Spurs are the team I've got kind of the most affinity for right now, so I want to see them do well. But I think 3-1 Liverpool, really, because Spurs are in bad form right now as well. And the only thing that makes me doubt that is they do know how to organise a defence. When their form's up, they're a great defensive team. And away to Liverpool might be the time you really, really step things up. So if they can do that, then fine, they might get that draw. But I can see Liverpool opening them up pretty early.
What about Arsenal and Newcastle?
I see a high scoring game because both teams are having problems defending across the season, but they can both score because Newcastle have hit that patch of form where they're actually scoring most games now. And I think 3-2 Arsenal. I could see Newcastle just going for it,
I'm looking at a 2-2.
You reckon 2-2? I'd see Arsenal get this.
Close.
I think Aubameyang will sort things out for him. But
Black Panther.
Yeah. He's a legend, man. I love Aubameyang. There's one other that I wanted to ask you about. I don't know how much you've been following the Championship, but my team, Villa, are playing against my brother's team, Blackburn Rovers. With our posh southern accents, we both support these teams. Just wait.
What do you make of that score then?
Well, actually, Blackburn are on really bad form, and Villa have petered out a little bit and sort of started drawing rather than losing, to be fair, though. But the winning streak stopped the last few games. But I still think we'll take them. We'll beat them by at least a couple of goals. Let's say 2-0, 3-1, something like that.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I might stick it back with my bro.
Yeah, that's really cool. Are you going to be watching it with him or like interacting with him through message or?
I'm sure there'll be some banter going backwards and forwards. Honestly, though, based on the form, etc., it's one of those things. If we're winning, it's not really too impressive. If we're losing, he's got every right to give me some stick. So yeah, we'll see.
Cool, man. Well, Bills, run out of time, I guess. Thank you very much for talking. Actually, we went over time by quite a bit, but that's good for me because it was just like interested anyway. Good to talk to you, and hopefully we can do another one very soon.
Yeah, of course, man. Thanks for having me on here. Good to catch up as well. Video blog or no video blog,
Yeah.
All right.
And I'll probably try and get you on the next couple of weeks or something to see how you feel about the results that's happened. And mate, so awesome to see you as well because I don't usually see you, do I? Well, so far away.
Always love to see you, buddy. But yeah, no, we'll chat again. A couple of weeks or whatever. Yeah, let us know what's happening. Top man.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. And everybody else, thank you so much for watching. Please do subscribe, follow, like, do what you can. And Bills, thank you very much, sir.
Subscribe, etc. Everyone. Thanks, Matt. Speak soon, mate.
Cheers, buddy. Bye-bye.